average rate of decline and are poised to attain related SDG targets much before the target deadline. Not only this, but we are taking up new challenges. With steady and assured steps, we are coming closer to realizing the dream of universal health coverage. The Ayushman Bharat Yojana, Long Live India scheme, which epitomizes political commitment, vision and guidance from our Honorable Prime Minister, is already being hailed globally as a paradigm shift in healthcare delivery. It is a holistic scheme that covers all dimensions of healthcare, namely prevention, health protection, and primary care through 150,000 health and wellness centers, as well as inpatient care through PMJ, a public funded assurance scheme that provides care of up to 500,000 annually per family to 500 million people, constituting about 40% of nation's population. We are also implementing other countrywide programs like PM's Safe Motherhood campaign and Mission Indradhanush and intensified Mission Indradhanush for immunization. We believe in the power of partnerships and multiple stakeholders working in unison towards the attainment of common goals. The Government of India has taken this approach on priority. Honorable Prime Minister has envisioned the concept of aspirational districts, wherein 117 lowest performing districts were identified to be taken up for holistic development, and I am very happy to inform you that health and nutrition, water, sanitation and hygiene, education are among the sectors that have been given the highest attention for improvement through a collaborative and multi-sectoral approach. India has also steered setting up a national nutrition mission with an aim of doubling the pace of improving nutritional status of mothers, children and adolescents through concerted actions between various departments and stakeholders. Over the next 2 days, we are going to immerse ourselves in sharing the experiences from various countries, partners, stakeholders, and more importantly, voices from the ground. We just heard what women want. Now the ball is in our court. It is our turn to deliver outcomes for the women, children, and adolescents of the world. We have a lot of interesting sessions and formats lined out for discussion, and I'm sure that all these will prove to be very useful for all of us. With these words, I extend my gratitude to Honorable Prime Minister for his blessings on this momentous occasion and welcome you all once again to the Partners Forum and wish everyone a great stay in New Delhi. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. I would like to invite the chairperson of the She Decides Global Movement and former president of AFRIAN, the African Youth and Adolescent Network, respected Ms. Tikhala Itai, to speak on the occasion.
Honorable Prime Minister, honorable ministers, representatives of respective different governments, my fellow young people, and all the partners here present. Viva Partners Forum, viva! Viva Partners Forum, viva! I come from an African continent where we believe in that African proverb that says, if you want to go quickly, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. And here we are together from different countries, different nations and regions, different race, different age, different culture and religious beliefs, but with one common vision, to truly change the lives of every woman, every child, and every adolescent. But if we truly want to bring about that change, we need shadows shape what we do the next 2 days. I think about the journeys that I take in a local bus when I'm visiting all the different communities. And I was thinking the power of partnership for me has been that journey in that local bus when I have visited different young people and young girls in these different communities. And I think, and I look at this bus and I get in, and I always see a diverse community in this bus. But sometimes we don't talk to one another. And I think with here and all the partners together, we need to start talking to one another, understanding who our partners are, what are we doing, how are we doing it, and how do we work together effectively. The other thing I look at when I look at this bus when I get in is, are the tires pumped up enough? Are they aligned? And we need to be pumped up enough and committed and be persistent and also ensure that we are aligned. We harmonize efforts, because one thing I've noticed is that we are partners doing things, but sometimes in different ways. But we need to start moving in the same direction because we have a common vision to meet the needs of every woman, every child, and every adolescent. And the other thing is the driver. The driver needs to be those voices of those communities, those young girls and those women, those adolescents and children, truly driving us to meet the needs that they need. And I always thought that with partnerships, we need to walk the talk and make sure that we harmonize with this common vision. And in conclusion, I want us all to drive in the same direction, to get to that destiny where truly we see lives transformed and thriving. We see us leaving a legacy where we nurture the next generation of young leaders, because in the next 10, 20 years, they will be leading their agenda. So going forward, I want to conclude on one thing. And I'm going to count to 3. And I want to hear each and every single person in this room, because each person matters. We're going to say, together we can. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. Together we can. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Tikhala Itai. I now invite respected Ms. Gabriela Cuevas-Barron, President, International Parliamentary Union and Chairperson, Mexican Senate Foreign Relations Committee, to address this august gathering.
Mr. Prime Minister, ministers, parliamentarians, excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It gives me great pleasure to address this distinguished gathering on behalf of the Interparliamentary Union. As a proud member of the Every Woman, Every Child high-level steering group, I am glad to be here today with other champions for women's, children's and adolescents' health. Let me first thank PMNCH for the invitation. I truly appreciate the opportunity to speak at the beginning of this very important forum to highlight the role of parliaments in accelerating progress on women's, children's and adolescents' health and the important work they are doing in this area. Significant progress has been achieved, including in regions facing the greatest health challenges. Since year 2000, the maternal mortality ratio has declined by 37%, and the under 5 mortality rate has dropped by 47%. Many lives were saved, but this is not enough. Every day, approximately 830 women still die from preventable causes related to pregnancy and childbirth. And in low and middle income countries, complications from pregnancy and childbirth are the leading cause of death among girls aged 15 to 19. In 2017, Alone, an estimated 6.3 million children and young adolescents lost their lives, mostly because of preventable or treatable infectious diseases and injuries. Greater progress is not only needed on the survival objective of the global strategy, but also all equally important for women, children, and adolescents to thrive in transformed societies. Women, children, and adolescents worldwide face challenges in accessing essential health services, education, and good nutrition, and are victims of violence and discrimination. It is alarming that at least 43% of children under 5 face poor chances of optimal development. That 200 million adolescents were not in secondary school in 2016. That between 2005 and 2016, 1 in 5 women and adolescent girls worldwide were subject to physical and/or sexual violence by an intimate partner, and we can go on. As you know, political will at the highest level is vital to build solid, enable environment to prioritize the needs and rights of the most vulnerable and marginalized, especially women, children, and adolescents. It is indeed the only way to ensure that health policies and laws are grounded into strong national institutions, comprehensive legislation, sufficient funding, robust data for decision-making, as well as transparency and accountability. And that's why the Interparliamentary Union is here. That's why the parliamentarians' voice, decisions, and actions are vital for this implementation. It is not enough to reach an agreement at the international arena. It is not enough to design a path through SDGs. What is necessary, what is our mandate as parliamentarians, is to translate words into actions. The numbers are clear, but behind these numbers, there are true people, flesh and blood. And we need to understand that while we are here trying to do something, these girls, these women, these boys and adolescents are suffering and are really expecting for us to do something. As parliamentarians, we are responsible of all process of ratification of international instruments, but also it is our duty to translate those commitments into national legislation, into better and stronger institutions, into real budget. We cannot speak about priorities if they are not really and truly reflected into budget. Of course, we need to work directly with governments. We need to exercise our duty to oversight. And of course, one of the most important mandates is to be working together, closer with the communities that we represent. The only way to change the world is if we start from our own communities. And that's why parliamentarians are important and are vital for this implementation. And for IPU, of course, the partnership that we have with PMNCH is very important. And we only have a first step. Yesterday we had a parliamentary conclave, and I must say that we received very good, interesting, and mandatory output from the parliamentarians that came to this meeting. But again, this is the first step. We're going to have our next assembly in April, and we're going to dedicate a full morning, 3 hours, for a workshop. We do not want more political statements. We do not want more only words and resolutions. We want to bring these resolutions and these commitments into real action. What we learned from yesterday's meeting was very clear. We can design the best strategies. Of course, we need reliable data, but what we really need here is the leadership. is to take action, is to go to the communities and change and transform these realities. Around the world, we are 46,000 parliamentarians. We need, of course, to do more in terms of gender representation and, of course, in youth representation. We need to hear more voices from youth in parliaments. And I would like to encourage you to help parliamentarians to reach the political arena. But I'm sure that even with these challenges in parliaments, 46,000 parliamentarians are perfectly capable of changing this world. And that's why, from IPU, we are going directly with this partnership for implementation to translate these commitments into our national commitments, into our national laws, into national budgets, and of course, into community actions. I am really enthusiastic about this forum. I'm sure that we are going to have not only the best outputs, but we are going really to make a huge step forward to implement this agenda. Please accept my best wishes for successful deliberations.
Thank you so much. May I now request Her Excellency Ms. Kim Simply Sparrow, First Lady of Belize and founder and director of the Lifeline Foundation, to kindly address this august gathering.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, Mr. Prime Minister. Good morning. It is a distinct honor and pleasure to join you this morning as we come together at the commencement of these 2 days of deliberation on the global strategy for women's, children's, and adolescent health. I have had the privilege of participating in meetings on the global strategy in my own region of Latin America and the Caribbean, and so I welcome this opportunity to participate in this global meeting. Not only does this event fall within my capacities as Belize's Special Envoy for Women and Children and chair of the Spouses of CARICOM Leaders Action Network, but it also resonates with my personal convictions on the importance of investing in health and well-being of women, children, and adolescents. The evidence has shown time and time again that healthy, educated, and empowered women are better able to raise healthy, educated, confident, and resilient daughters and sons. There is, of course, an inextricable link between poor health and poverty. So indeed, when women are supported and empowered to overcome the effects of poverty and poor health, they can and will live full and productive lives. And so will their children, families, and communities. When the well-being of women is safeguarded, everyone benefits. Optimizing the health and well-being of women, children, and adolescents must be seen as a public good. Priority must be placed on persons from poor and vulnerable families, and careful attention must be made to ensure that all adolescents can access services and appropriate information. No one must be left behind. Ensuring the health of women and children is very much about safeguarding fundamental rights. In the case of small developing countries such as Belize and those in the Caribbean sub-region, it is fully recognized there is also a strong economic argument to be made. If we are to realize our economic development goals, we must ensure that all members of our societies are functioning at an optimal level. We must therefore pay keen attention to women who make up half of our population and to children and adolescents who in some cases comprise of 60%. We are just too small to afford to leave anyone behind. And in that regard, I have the distinct pleasure of sharing with you that the First Ladies of the Caribbean have been hard at work over the past 3 years. We have been doing our part to safeguard the rights of women, children, and adolescents in our region. We have been working diligently on the Every Caribbean Woman, Every Caribbean Child initiative. The initiative is committed to addressing inequities through the implementation of the global strategy. It provides us with a platform for advocacy and action to focus on key social determinants of health and that negatively influence the development of Caribbean countries. Hence, we have focused on 4 areas: HIV and AIDS, particularly ending mother-to-child transmission as well as congenital syphilis, adolescent pregnancy, cervical cancer, and gender-based violence. So I'm very pleased to be here at this global interchange to share, listen, learn, and be inspired to deepen and broaden the collective efforts of the spouses of CARICOM Leaders Action Network. I look forward to the next 2 days. Ladies and gentlemen, the needs of our women, children, and adolescents cannot be ignored. The investment we make today in women's, children's, and adolescent health and well-being will help build peaceful, sustainable, and inclusive societies for future generations. And so in closing, let me urge that we all heed the call to action. Let us stand on behalf of our sisters and their children, raising our voices and using our influence to advocate and to ensure that every woman, every adolescent, and every child can live a healthy and dignified life. That every woman, every adolescent, and every child has the opportunity to realize their fullest potential, and that every woman, every adolescent, and every child can make her fullest contribution to the development of her family, her community, her nation, and to the world. I thank you.
Thank you, Her Excellency. May I now request His Excellency Deputy Prime Minister of Nepal, Mr. Upendra Yadav, to kindly address us.
His Excellency Sri Narendra Modi ji, Prime Minister of India, His Excellency Sri J.P. Nadda, Minister of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, dignitaries on the dais, ministers, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Very good morning to you all. It is a great pleasure and honor for me to participate in this important partners forum, which over the years has become a unique constellation of the governments, international organizations, civil societies, private sectors, healthcare experts, researchers, and financing agencies. Together our mission is clear. A mission to ensure good health and well-being of every woman, child, and adolescent. A mission to achieve thereby healthy and prosperous society. We all know the status of maternal, newborn, and child health determines ultimately the status of health system of a country. I am pleased to share with this august gathering that under the Millennium Development Goals framework, Nepal made notable progress in realization of the goals related to child and maternal health. We provided the MDGs target in reducing child mortality, while we were nearly there is in reaching the target 1 maternal mortality. Today we continue to focus on the unfinished businesses of MDGs era. Now under the framework of Sustainable Development Goals, we have directed concentrated effort to address the major killers of the mothers, newborn and children. However, achieving the maternal and newborn related SDGs targets with equity is a tremendous challenge in Nepal. In this noble endeavor, we have a lot of expectations from the partnership forum like this. For us, this is an opportunity to share experiences, learn from each other, and galvanize the much needed international support. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Constitution of Nepal ensures health as a fundamental human right of the people. Policy and legal framework as well as service delivery mechanism has been devised accordingly in an effort to realize this constitutional vision. When it comes to child and maternal health, we have a robust Safe Motherhood and Reproductive Health Act. Maternal, newborn and child health services have been included in the basic health service package and have been provided through all levels of health facilities free. This requires a partnership approach across all levels of the government and among various sectors. Health in all policies the need of our, and this approach has been increasingly being emphasized as a strategy to mobilize multi-sectoral action for health across the government and to increase policy coherence. As a part of the institutional setup of this holistic approach, we have constituted a multi-sectoral board under the Public Health Service Act. While the shift from Millennium Development Goal to Sustainable Development Goals has allowed more opportunity for multi-sectoral approach, it also requires change in the mindset, innovative ways, partnerships, and governance not only at the government's level, but also for civil society, the private sector, and the research community. The fundamental importance of reliable, timely, and disaggregated data and statistics to monitor the equitable progress of maternal, newborn, and child health indicators should not be ignored. In addition, other existing health system challenges like human resources for health infrastructure, service delivery, financing, and logistics require multi-sectoral approach and systemic thinking as well. The overall empowerment of women and girls integral to all dimensions to inclusive and sustainable development goals. In Nepal, growth in the literacy rate of women, their empowerment through various community-based programs, and gradual social and cultural transformation has allowed women to increasingly access health services for themselves and their children, which will eventually contribute in achieving the target of SDGs. The government of Nepal is committed to achieving the universal health coverage for all. The AMA program, which provides the incentive for safe delivery, the social health insurance program, and other free health care programs are some examples of targeted interventions to address the financial barriers in assessing the health care for mother and children. I would like to conclude here by thanking the Ministry of Health of the Government of India and Partnership for Maternal, Newborn and Child Health for organizing this forum. I took forward to constructive deliberation during the successing this session. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you, His Excellency. Under the unprecedented visionary leadership of Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, we all are witnessing the emergence of New India, his powerful mantra of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas has empowered and steered 1.2 billion Indians. Various path-breaking health-related initiatives have been undertaken for affordable, effective and equitable access to healthcare, particularly by underprivileged and vulnerable, which is Honorable Prime Minister's deep commitment and also one of the UN SDGs. May I request the Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi, to kindly address us, guide us and show us the way forward.
Distinguished dignitaries on the dais, delegates from India and abroad, ladies and gentlemen, Namaste. A very warm welcome to all the delegates from across the world to the Partners Forum 2018. It is the only partnership that will get us to our goals. Partnership between citizens, partnership between communities, partnerships between countries. The Sustainable Development Agenda is a reflection of this. Countries move beyond stand-alone efforts. They committed to empowering communities, improving health and education, ending poverty, and boosting economic growth, and ultimately leaving no one behind. The health of mothers will determine the health of the children, and the health of children will determine the health of our tomorrow. We have gathered to discuss and deliberate ways to improve the health and well-being of mothers and children. The outcomes of our discussions today will have a great impact on our tomorrow. The Partners Forum vision is in the line with India's ancient wisdom of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. The world is one family. It also in line with my government philosophy of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, which means collective efforts and partnership for inclusive growth. The Partnership for Maternal, Newborn and Child Health is a unique and effective platform. We are not only making a case for better health, we are also making an argument for faster growth. As the world searches for new ways to ensure rapid growth, ensuring good health of women is one of the best ways of doing so. We have achieved a lot of progress in the last few years. A lot yet remains to be done. From bigger budget to better outcomes, and from mindset change to monitoring, there is a lot to be done. The India story is one of hope. Hope that roadblocks can be overcome. Hope that behavioral change can be ensured. Hope that rapid progress can be achieved. When the Millennium Development Goals were agreed on, India had one of the world's highest mortality rates for women and children. With sustained momentum and a faster rate of decline during the last few years, India is on course to attain the SDG targets for maternal and child health, much ahead of the agreed date of 2030. India was one of the first countries to advocate focused attention on adolescents and implement an expensive health promotion and prevention program for adolescents. Our effort ensured that they get the due recognition in the global strategy for women's, children's and adolescents' health adopted in 2015. Yatra naryastu pujjante ramante tatra devata, meaning where women are honored, divinity blossoms there. I firmly believe that our nation prospers when its people and importantly the women and children are educated and are able to live independent, empowered and healthy lives. I am pleased to note that India's immunization program, a subject close to my heart, is being featured as a success story in this forum. Under Mission Indradhanush, we reach 32.8 million children and 8.4 million pregnant women over the last 3 years. We have also increased the numbers of vaccines under the Universal Immunization Program from 7 to 12. Our vacancies now cover life-threatening diseases like pneumonia and diarrhea. Friends, when my government assumed office in 2014, we were losing more than 44,000 mothers annually during childbirth. We launched the Pradhan Mantri Suraksha Matrutva Abhiyan to provide best possible care to mothers during pregnancy. We called upon the doctors to pledge 1 day of service per month to this campaign. Under this campaign, 16 million antenatal care checkups have been performed. The country had 25 million newborns. Our robust facility-based newborn care system, which provides care to more than 1 million newborn babies through 794 state-of-the-art special newborn care units, has served as a successful model. As a result of our interventions, 840 additional lives of children under 5 are being saved each day in India as compared to 4 years back. Children's nutrition is being addressed through the Poshan Abhiyan. This brings together various schemes and interventions working towards a common goal of malnutrition-free India. In order to improve the quality of life of children, we are implementing Rashtriya Bal Swasthya Karyakram. This has provided 800 million health screening checkups and free referral treatment to 20 million children in the last 4 years. One thing that constantly worried us was the high out-of-pocket expenditure incurred by families to avail medical care. We therefore launched the Ayushman Bharat Yojana. Ayushman Bharat has a two-fold strategy. The first is the provision of a comprehensive primary care at a facility near the community, including guidance on healthy lifestyle and yoga through the health and wellness centers. The Fit India and Eat Right movements are also important part of our strategy for health and wellness. The community will also be able to receive free screening and care for common disease, including hypertension, diabetes, and 3 common cancers of breast, cervicals, and oral. The patients will receive free medicines and diagnostic support close to their homes. We plan to start 150,000 such health and wellness centers by 2022. The other arm of Ayushman Bharat is the Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, PM-JAY. This provides cashless health insurance cover up to rupees 500,000 per family per year, covering 500 million citizens who are most poor and vulnerable. This number is almost equal to the population of Canada, Mexico, and the United States taken together. We have already provided free treatment worth rupees 700 crores to 500,000 families under this scheme within 10 weeks of its launch. Today, being Global Universal Health Coverage Day, I again state that we will continue to work toward providing universal health coverage to all. With 1 million registered social health activists or ASHA workers and 232,000 auxiliary nurse midwives, we have a formidable force of women frontline health workers. They are the strength of our program. India is a huge country. Some states and districts have performed at par with developed countries. Others have their work cut out. I instructed my officials to identify 117 aspirational districts. Each such district has been entrusted to a team that works across sectors like education, water and sanitation, rural development, with topmost priority to health and nutrition. We are working on women-centric schemes through other departments also. Till 2015, more than half of Indian women did not have access to clean fuel for cooking. We changed this with Ujjwala Yojana and provided cleaner cooking options to 58 million women. We have taken up Swachh Bharat mission on war footing to make India open defecation free by the year 2019. In the last 4 years, sanitation coverage in rural areas has increased from 39% to 95%. We all know the saying, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate an entire family. We have translated that into Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao, a program that focuses on the girl child and on giving her the best quality of life and education. In addition, we have also devised a small deposit saving scheme for girls called Sukanya Samruddhi Yojana. With more than 12.6 million accounts opened, this scheme is helping us secure the future of the girl child. We have also introduced Pradhan Mantri Matru Bandhana Yojana that is expected to benefit more than 50 million pregnant women and lactating mothers. These schemes enable direct benefit transfer to their bank accounts to compensate for wage loss, enable better nutrition and adequate rest before and after delivery. We have also increased maternity leave to 26 weeks from 12 weeks earlier. We are committed to increasing India's health spending to 2.5% of GDP by 2025, reaching to more than $100 billion US. This will mean an actual increase of 345% over the current share in just 8 years. We will continue to work for the betterment of people. Women, children and youth will continue to remain at the heart of every policy, program or initiative. I would like to stress on the need for multi-stakeholder partnership for achieving success. In all our endeavors, we are aware that effective healthcare, especially for women and children, is best organized through convergent action. Friends, I have been given to understand that over the next 2 days, this forum will discuss 12 success stories from all over the world. This is indeed an opportunity for a dialogue between countries to share what we can learn from each other. India stands ready to support its fellow countries in the march to achieving the development goals through skill and training programs, provision of affordable medicines and vaccines, knowledge transfer and exchange programs. I will be keen to hear the outcomes of the ministerial conclave, which has been designed to contribute to these discussions. This forum has a vibrant platform, offers us the right movement which should invigorate our commitment to survive, thrive, transform. We have our tasks well laid out and we continue to work with utmost dedication and devotion to provide health for all. India shall always stand together with all the partners in solidarity. I call upon each one of you, including those who have joined us virtually, to embrace this in true spirit so that we are able to extend our support to the entire humanity. Let us join our hands together as an expression. Let's come forward. Let us join our hands together as an expression of our commitment very much. Please be a part of this.
Thank you, sir. As a mark of our partnership, let's hold hand of each other in solidarity with the call to action for women, children and adolescent health made by Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji. I request all of you, all the participants present here, to hold the hands of participants next to you in solidarity with the call to action. Let's show our solidarity that we stand together to achieve our goals. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. ये चेन इतनी मजबूत हो, हमारे हौसले बुलंद हों, इरादे फौलादी हों.
As the delegates come together to hold hands, the gesture is more than just symbolic. It is also a strong reiteration of how collaborative strategies ensure equitable growth across economic, geographic and social strata.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री महोदय, विशिष्ट अतिथिगणों का अभिवादन स्वीकार करने के पश्चात प्लेनरी हॉल से प्रस्थान कर रहे हैं। उम्मीद यही है